It having reached the hour of 5:30 p.m., I am calling the May 3rd, 2022 Modesto City Council meeting to order and ask the city clerk to call the roll.
Councilmember Madrigal. I believe Councilmember Madrigal is absent.
Okay.
Councilmember Ricky.
Present.
Councilmember Canoyer.
Present.
Councilmember Wright.
Present.
Councilmember Scoutier Brayton is absent. And Mayor Zwollen.
Here. Will everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by the invocation from Marvin Jacobo from City Ministry Network. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you. Please pray with me. Master, we love our city, but you love it more than we do. The first order of business is we ask that you would restore our dear daughter, your dear daughter, and our sister Jenny to complete health. She's a treasure to our community. In the scriptures, you've said that citizens ought to willingly work alongside the governing authorities, since you've established those very leaders to promote peace, order, and justice. And because of that directive, I pray this evening for our mayor, for the various levels of city officials, and in particular this assembled council. Lord, I'm asking that you would graciously grant them wisdom to govern amid the conflicting interests and issues of our times and communities, to give them a sense of the welfare and the true needs of all of our citizens, a keen thirst for equity for all of our citizens. And in this season of just division, the ability to work together in harmony, even as there is honest disagreement. Give them the courage to lead as they ought. Lord, I pray for each council member, peace in their lives, joy in their task, as they do continue to give of their time and energy, attention from their loved ones, their families. Thank you that you're going to bless them because of that sacrifice, and we are assured that you're blessing them because of their sacrifice of service. And may you align us all to move our city toward a dream, and that dream that our communities would be a good place to grow up and to grow old in for everyone. Amen.
Thank you very much, Marvin, for being with us this evening. At this time, I would like to welcome our new city clerk, Diane Nyers Perez, and I'm grateful that she is here this evening, and I wish her well in her new journey. Thank you so much, Diane. Does the city clerk have any announcements?
Yes, Mayor. No email correspondence was received.
Thank you very much. Do any of the council members have any conflicts of interest?
No.
All right. Seeing none, I will just make the comment that we did not have closed session this evening, so there is no report from closed session. Next is our acknowledgments and presentations, and the first is our Stanislaus County update, and we have Supervisor Graywall here. Welcome.
All right. Good evening. Thank you, Mayor, City Council, City Manager Lopez, City Attorney Sanchez, and congratulations to our new City Clerk and Deputy City Managers. A lot of new faces. Just wanted to provide a county update. In the past, it's always been the pandemic update, and fortunately, we see a light at the end of the tunnel, and things are progressing well. So just wanted to take this opportunity to tell things that have happened at the county in the past few weeks. Something that happened this morning to emulate what Modesto's doing on their cannabis program. The county as well terminated the community benefit fee for commercial cannabis businesses, which is more in line with Modesto. What Modesto does is we allow them to give to a charity or donations in kind in lieu of a fee, which was 2.5% that we had charged for the past few years since we brought the cannabis program online. So Modesto was mentioned as a place where things are working as far as the cannabis industry. We had people from the cannabis industry representing at the board chamber or at the board meeting this morning, and they said, why aren't you guys doing it more like Modesto? So you guys should be proud of how you are doing your cannabis taxation in the community. We're working on our 2022-23 proposed county budget, and we'll have board briefings in mid-May for hopefully a final budget by June 30th. Many of you are involved in Stanislaus 2030. I'm sure you guys have seen the update and some of the findings of the reports. So we have a good guidance on things that we would like to accomplish through that program with the entire community, the cities and the county, and community foundation, and other stakeholders in the community to see some of those things that are recommended by Brookings to come into fruition. And then this morning, we proclaimed May as the month of Mental Health Awareness and Older Americans Month. And later this month, we will acknowledge 5 outstanding senior citizens, 1 from each district, for their contributions to the community. So if there's someone that you know in District 4, which is much of Modesto, that is deserving of this honor, please forward those to my office so we can acknowledge them for being, for their contributions to the city of Modesto and the county of Stanislaus. And then lastly, the Stanislaus County Board of Supervisors is going on a road show this Thursday. We will be visiting county islands and county pockets that are in need of infrastructure. So the $50 million that we have through the American Recovery Plan Act, we are looking at it as a board together, the areas of the county that need it most. So we will be in many parts of Modesto, in West Modesto, the Parkdale, Roselawn area. In my district, we'll be in South Modesto near Mancini Park. That's where I'll be holding my engagement with the public on infrastructure needs in that area. So each supervisor is picking 2 areas of their district where they feel that there is the most need for infrastructure dollars and investment as far as streets, curbs, gutters, lights, and things as such. So we will be doing it on this Thursday the 5th, and then I think again on May 16th. So if any of you have time and would like to engage in the conversation, feel free. I think there's a full calendar. We start at about 12 o'clock and end at 5 o'clock, and a lot of those areas are in Modesto or adjoining properties or adjoining places near Modesto. So those are things that are happening at the county. I appreciate the opportunity to update you and appreciate to see all of you in person. Thank you so much. Have a great evening and a great meeting.
Thank you, Supervisor Graywall, for your presentation. Item 2, presentation of proclamation recognizing May 5th, 2022 in celebration of Cinco de Mayo. I will read the proclamation. Recognizing May 5th, 2022 in celebration of Cinco de Mayo. Cinco de Mayo, May 5th, marks the anniversary of the Battle of Puebla when, against overwhelming odds, the Mexican army defeated French forces. To commemorate the victory and acknowledge their ancestry, many Mexicans in the United States and around the world participate in parades, dancing, mariachi bands, and festivals that are part of the celebrations. In California, cities have celebrated Cinco de Mayo annually since 1863. Now, therefore, I, Suze Wallen, Mayor, hereby recognize May 5th in celebration of Cinco de Mayo and encourage our residents to recognize this day and join in celebrations and activities honoring Mexican-American culture and heritage. Dated this day, the 3rd of May, 2022. My understanding was that Nelson Gomez was going to be here from the South Modesto Business United to receive this. I do not see him this evening. Was there anyone else here that was going to receive this? All right. If not, we will make sure that he receives the proclamation. Item 3, presentation of proclamation proclaiming May 2022 as Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander AANHPI Heritage Month. I will read the proclamation. Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander Heritage Month is observed annually in May to celebrate the contributions that generations of AAPIs have made to American history, society, and culture. Asian Americans and Native Hawaiians and Pacific Islanders make our nation more vibrant through diversity of cultures, languages, and religions. There is no single story of AANHPI experience, but rather a diversity of contributions that enrich America's culture and society and strengthen the United States' role as global leader. The American story, as we know it, would be impossible without the strength, contributions, and legacies of AANHPIs who have helped build and unite this country in each successive generation. From laying railroad tracks, tilling fields, and starting businesses, to caring for our loved ones and honorably serving our nation in uniform, AANHPI communities are deeply rooted in the history of the United States. We also celebrate and honor the invaluable contributions the AANHPI communities have made to our community's culture and the arts, law, science and technology, sports, and public service, including those who have served on the front lines of the COVID-19 pandemic as healthcare providers, first responders, teachers, and other essential workers. Now, therefore, I, Suze Wallen, Mayor, do hereby proclaim May 2022 as Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander Heritage Month in the City of Modesto and encourage our residents to join in recognizing the many contributions made by and learn more about the history of Asian Americans, Native Hawaiians, and Pacific Islanders, and to observe this month with appropriate programs and activities dated this 3rd day of May, 2022. And this evening we have here Wei Ying Li from the Stanislaus Chinese Association to accept the proclamation. Wei, if you would like to step forward and make a few comments, that would be great, and then we will join you to present the proclamation and take a photo. Mm-hmm.
Hello everyone, my name is Hui Li on behalf of Stanislaus Chinese Association. I want to thank you, our mayor, Wallen, and our city council to, give us that proclamation for the AAPI, the Heritage Month. Can I have 2 minutes?
Sure.
Yeah. Since the pandemic, we have 2 different viruses. One is really coronavirus. The other one is anti-AAPI virus. But we are very lucky because in our community, in our city, in our county, we don't have the second virus. We have very harmony, environment with a very nice community. So we work together. So that's the good thing about our community. I came to United States in 1975. So I've been, witnessed so many AAPIs, how they're suffering. But I see how strong they are. I see the Wonder Bread truck driver. They raised 4 kids. One is MD, one is a dentist. The other 2 graduate from UC Davis as a school teacher. I have so many this kind of example to witness. And also, after Vietnam War, when we accept so many, about over 100,000 Vietnamese refugees to our country, but they are so strong, and in 5 years, I saw so many Vietnamese people, they already opened their own business. Then I saw if you saw the movie Killing Field, that's how the Cambodian people has been suffering from the communists after the Vietnam War. Also, about the Hmong or the Laos, because I just find out that Laos is the country, the Hmong is the people live on the Highlander. So after U.S. withdraw their military from Vietnam, because the Hmong people help U.S. to fight with the Vietnam communists. So the whole people almost get genocide from the communists. So U.S. accept, I think at least over 100 refugees to U.S. And you see how they work so hard. They raise their kids to get a very good education, to be a better person in our society. That's the inspiration. That's we call it AAPI Strong. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Would the council members that are present here join me in presenting the proclamation to Wei? All right. Item 4 is the presentation of a proclamation proclaiming May 2022 as Mental Health Awareness Month. Mental health is essential to everyone's overall health and well-being, and mental illnesses are real and prevalent in our nation. And half of us will have a mental health diagnosis at some point in our lives. And all Americans experience times of difficulty and stress in their lives and should feel comfortable in seeking help and support to manage these times. And engaging in prevention, early identification, and early intervention are as effective ways to reduce the burden of mental illnesses as they are to reduce the burden of other chronic conditions. And there is a strong body of research that identifies behavioral health risks and supports specific tools that all Americans can use to protect their health and well-being. And with effective treatment, individuals with mental illnesses, even serious mental illnesses, can make progress towards recovery and lead full, productive lives. And jails and prisons have often become the default places of custodial care for even nonviolent people with serious mental illnesses. And each business, school, government agency, healthcare provider, organization, and resident has a responsibility to promote mental health and well-being for all. Now, therefore, I, Suze Wallen, Mayor, do hereby proclaim May 2022 as Mental Health Month in the City of Modesto and call upon the citizens, government agencies, public and private institutions, businesses, and schools to recommit our community to increasing awareness and understanding of mental health, the steps our citizens can take to protect their mental health, and the need for appropriate and accessible services for all people with mental illness, dated this 3rd day of May, 2022. And today we have to receive the proclamation Linda Mayo, who is with the National Alliance of Mental Illness, NAMI. Welcome, Linda.
Thank you, Mayor and council members. Thanks for spotlighting Mental Health Awareness Month. I'm happy to accept this on behalf of all the families like mine who suffer from or have family members suffering from this horrible brain disorder. At the rollout of Governor Newsom's Care Court concept, he used the proper term, brain health, to describe these severe brain illnesses. Schizophrenia and related disorders are not behavioral or mental conditions. They are physical diseases of the brain, our body's most important organ. The behaviors are symptoms of the brain malfunctioning due to the underlying pathology. We see the results of a broken mental health system every day on our streets, in our parks, and neighborhood alleys. We must all let our legislators know they are on the right path for providing passionate care to those who do not have the brain functioning to seek it voluntarily, rather than allowing them to continue to live and die on the streets with no hope beyond the revolving door of homelessness, incarceration, and short-term hospitalizations. There is no cure for these brain disorders, but medication and treatment can allow sufferers to reduce the symptoms and be able to manage their lives and live safely within our community. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We'll join you and present the proclamation. Right. Next, is item 5, presentation of proclamation proclaiming May 2022 Older Americans Month. The City of Modesto has long been concerned for the well-being and economic security of its senior citizens, and it has always been an important objective of this city to continue to assist the older citizens of our community to remain self-reliant, dignified, and useful citizens. And the month of May has traditionally been celebrated as Older Americans Month. And Older Americans Month seeks to promote awareness and respect for older adults and to foster an understanding for the vital links among all generations. And now, therefore, I, Suze Wallen, Mayor of the City of Modesto, do hereby proclaim May 2022 as Older Americans Month and encourage our citizens to join in promoting and supporting the public, nonprofits, and faith-based agencies who serve the older citizens in our community. To accept this award today, we have Kim DeLucci from the Aging and Veterans Services, and with her is Billy Taylor from the Commission on Aging. Welcome.
Thank you. I'd like to introduce Billy. She is the Stanislaus County Commission on Aging, a mandated commission to the Area Agency on Aging. Would like to acknowledge the extraordinary efforts of Ms. Billy Taylor, who has served as a member of the Commission on Aging for over 28 years. For 20 of those years, she has served on the California Senior Legislature as our local senior assembly member. In this role, she has represented the best interests of California's older adults. She has been an individual who is driven to make a difference in the lives of aging Californians, is interested in local issues affecting older adults, and has represented our local community at the state level. Ms. Taylor is ending her service as our assembly member at the end of June, although she will continue to serve on the Commission on Aging. We are most grateful and proud of Ms. Taylor's commitment and service. Thank you, Billy.
Thank you very much.
What can I say after that? I want to thank the commission for supporting me so much, and also the city for the proclamation. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. We'll join you to present the proclamation and to take a photo. Billy, your work is just incredible. over so many years. It's profoundly impactful.
They wouldn't give me a pension, so I won't leave.
Long time no see.
Hi, thank you. Thank you.
All right, there you go.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and 3.
Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you so much.
Drive safe. Alrighty. Item 6, presentation of proclamation proclaiming May 2nd through 6th, 2022 as Public Service Recognition Week. I will read the proclamation. The residents of the City of Modesto are served every single day by public servants at every level in the executive, legislative, and judicial branches of government. These unsung heroes do the work that keeps our community strong and moving forward. Public employees take not only jobs, but oaths to perform their duties to the best of their abilities, and public servants, including police officers, firefighters, corrections officers, doctors, nurses, healthcare professionals, and others risk their lives each day in service to the people of the city. And public servants in utilities, public works, finance, parks and recreation, and countless other employees, day in and day out, provide with efficiency and integrity the diverse services demanded of their government by the people of the city. Without these public servants at every level, continuity would be impossible in a democracy that regularly changes its leaders and elected officials. And now, therefore, I, Suze Wallen, Mayor, do hereby proclaim May 2nd through 6th, 2022 Public Service Recognition Week and encourage our residents to recognize the accomplishments and contributions of all the hardworking and deserving public employees of the City of Modesto, dated this 3rd day of May, 2022. And accepting this proclamation will be our very own Christina Alger, Director of Human Resources. Welcome, Christina.
Good evening, Mayor and Council, and I want to thank you for recognizing this week as Public Service Recognition Week. This is a time that we take to celebrate the talented individuals that make our community great. We have many dedicated people who ensure we are safe and have the essential services needed to provide for our families. From those who ensure we have beautiful parks and streets, to those who ensure we have clean water, to those who come to our rescue when we are in distress. Our purpose is meaningful to many. We thank every public servant in every capacity. Without them, we would not be able to enjoy such a great community. Thank you for recognizing that tonight.
All right, you're welcome. We'll come down and join you for the proclamation and a photo. You need to. We'll wait for these guys.
I feel like we've met here before.
Here we go. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and 3. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Andrew. All righty, next is miscellaneous legislation and appointments. Item 7, consider accepting the resignation of Will Crew from the city's Landmark Preservation Commission. Are there any questions from council? Any comments from the public? Seeing none, comments from council?
Move approval?
Move to approve.
Okay, we had a motion by Councilmember Madrigal. Councilmember Canoyer, would you like to make a second?
Yes.
Okay, and a second by Councilmember Canoyer. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Madrigal.
Aye.
Councilmember Ricky.
Aye.
Councilmember Canoyer.
Aye.
Councilmember Wright.
Aye.
And Mayor Wallen.
Aye. So it carries 5-0. Next is public comment period. Does anyone wish to speak on any item under public comment? This is for items not on the council agenda, and each person has 3 minutes to speak. And I have one blue card from Julius Young. Welcome, Julius.
Welcome. Thank you for inviting me. I believe I was here last month about a licensing issue in an adventure, and that was on a Tuesday.
Please speak so we can hear you.
Is this better? Okay, yeah, I was here a month ago on Tuesday about an issue with a licensing adventure. That was on a Tuesday. By Wednesday afternoon, I had 2 voicemails from those individuals within that agency that wanted to resolve the misunderstanding. They did receive an additional check that I had mailed to them. They wanted to return the check to me because all the fees, as far as they were concerned, were now being paid until 2024. So it was resolved, and I told them to keep the check and use it for their projects or else their funds. So I don't know how many citizens come back to the city council to thank you for helping us resolve these issues. I could probably use 10 fingers and 10 toes, but I wanted to take the time to simply thank you for listening and for the response that I received from the agency. We resolved the issue, and thank you again.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Thank you for taking the time.
Did you
to
hear
do
me
that.
okay? Oh, she didn't. I'll try again. Stay safe, okay?
Thank you. Thank
Okay.
you very much for being here. Next online, I see Jack Fahey.
Hello. Before I make a comment, I'd like to say that my last name is not Fahey, it's Faye, okay?
Yes, thank you for correcting me.
Anyway, I want to talk about Star Wars Day that is coming tomorrow, which is May the 4th be with you. There is going to be a celebration of May the 4th be with you in downtown Modesto, and a lot of people are really excited to go there. So I want everybody who's interested in that event, you should go there. It's really fun. And Star Wars is the most popular science fiction movie in America. And we know that George Lucas created that movie, and he was born here in Modesto. So I just want everybody to know that May the 4th be with you, everybody. Thank you.
Thank
and
you.
Have a good evening.
Thank you. Next, I see online Emerson Drake.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just one point of concern, and I'm not really sure who your timer is, but I'll point out once again that the first individual that spoke, the timer never started. Now, I know it was laudatory, and it's nice to let somebody ramble on as long as they want, but when we see the other 2 people that follow him on a timer, I get a little bit concerned. I think maybe we either need some education as far as who's running the timer, or maybe take it out of their hands and put it into somebody's hands that's not caring who's speaking, but just applying everything equally across the board. I'd also like to commend the people that are out in front of Planned Parenthood right now, protesting the potential of our unfortunate release of documents, at least, as far as the Supreme Court's concerned, what's being attempted against women is just heresy. It's out of control. It's the hate of women, not applying the Constitution. But again, somebody who's running the timer is not being equitable. I think that's wrong. I think they should be chastised. I think they should have a little bit of explanation on their part so they'll understand what they're supposed to be doing. I thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome. Do we have any other public comments at this time? I do not see anyone in person. I do not have blue cards, and I do not see any hands raised online. Is that correct? From my angle? All right. Thank you very much, everyone. Will the city clerk please read the consent items?
Yes, Mayor. Item 8, consider approving the minutes from the April 12th, 2022 council meeting. Item 9, consider approving a resolution continuing to authorize remote teleconference meetings pursuant to AB 361. Item 10, consider approving a second amendment to the second restated legal services agreement with Arata, Swingle, Van Egmond, and Heitlinger in the amount of $250,000 for a not-to-exceed amount of $750,000, and a third amendment to the legal services agreement with Barkowitz, Cronick, and Shanahan in the amount of $75,000 for a not-to-exceed amount of $217,300 for continued representation. Item 11, consider approving a second amendment to the joint exercise of powers agreement between the City of Modesto and the County of Stanislaus, amending sections related to the commission members, the Dispatch Advisory Board, and the Technical Advisory Committee, and appointing the Modesto Fire Chief to serve as the city's additional member and the Modesto Police Chief as their alternate on the Consolidated Emergency Dispatch Agency Commission. Item 12, consider accepting the monthly investment report for February 2022. Item 13, consider accepting an informational report for the March 2022 Accounts Payable Payment Register and Void Report. Item 14, consider accepting the Transportation Development Act Triennial Performance Audit conducted by the Stanislaus Council of Governments for Transit Operations and Capital Expenses. Item 15, consider approving a renewal agreement with Zoll Data Systems, Inc. for PCR and Fire RMS records management and reporting software in an annual estimated amount of $77,124 with a one-time ePCR implementation fee of $7,500 for a total 3-year agreement not to exceed $238,872. Item 16, consider approving the donation of K9 Fuse from Thor's Hope Foundation for the use as a facility dog for the City of Modesto Fire Department for an estimated initial cost of $287 and an estimated annual cost of $3,337. Item 17, consider approving the submission of an application for the fiscal year 2022-2023 CAL FIRE Rural Fire Capacity Program Grant in an amount that will not exceed $40,000, which includes a 50% local match for the procurement of wildland firefighting equipment. Item 18, consider approving the award of proposal and agreement for citywide regulatory safety training and consultation to Natech International, Inc. out of Anaheim for a 2-year agreement with 3 one-year extension options for an annual cost not to exceed $115,000 and a total amount not to exceed $575,000 over 5 years. Item 19, consider approving lease agreements between the City of Modesto and Del Rio CC Foundation, First Tee, Central Valley, and the City of Modesto and the Boys and Girls Club of Stanislaus County for the lease of property located on Rose Lawn Avenue. Item 20, consider approving the list of projects to be funded with Road Repair and Accountability Act tax proceeds in fiscal year 2022-2023. Item 21, consider approving an agreement for the purchase of reused water from the Turlock Irrigation District.
Move to approve all consent items.
All right, I have a motion from Councilmember Knoyer and a second from Vice Mayor Wright. Will the city clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Madrigal.
Aye.
Councilmember Ricky.
Aye.
Councilmember Knoyer.
Aye.
Councilmember Wright.
Aye.
And Mayor Zwellen.
Aye. The motion carries 5-0. Do any of the council members have any comments and reports? Councilmember Ricky?
Thanks, Mayor. I also am quite excited about May the 4th coming up tomorrow. It's going to be a real blast. It's one of those, spontaneous cultural events that we get in town, and I think that we should really celebrate and enjoy it because they don't come around that much. So it's a really great opportunity. I hope you go out and check it out. I also want to talk about the budgeting conversations we had last week. I'm guessing, based on the time that most of them took place, which is during the day, that most of you didn't probably see them. If you haven't, I strongly recommend that you do. Joe Lopez's speech on the state of the city budget is really important, and everyone should listen to it. I felt like it was kind of terrifying, but it's transparent. And I think it's time that we really look at kind of what the reality of our budget is. The people of the city need to know that, like, the reason why we have parks that are falling apart, why the bathrooms in the park are like unfit for animals, you know, why our trees didn't get pruned for a decade or have mistletoe removed or dead trees removed from your yard. It's just because we didn't have the budget for that. And, you know, it's a complicated and it's an uncomfortable conversation, but we need to have it as a community together. And I feel like we've been operating in this kind of we're fine posture for over 10 years, and it's been so long that we don't even remember what normal looks like. And so I hope that we look at what, you know, Joe said in his speech, and we start thinking about solutions. Thanks, Mayor.
All right, thank you. Any other comments from council members? Councilmember Knoyer?
Yes, I just want to thank Councilmember Ricky for his comments, because it is something that, as our citizens, we really need to look at. And I hope everyone does take the time to listen to our city manager's state of the city, because it's all true. So thank you, Councilmember Ritchie, for bringing that up.
Councilmember Madrigal?
Thank you, Mayor. Just wanted to share with members of the public and with the council that this coming Saturday is the annual Cinco de Mayo parade that is happening in South Modesto on Crow's Landing Road. It is sponsored by the South Modesto Businesses United, a nonprofit in South Modesto. Saturday, May the 7th, 11 a.m. to approximately 1 p.m. or so. It's the first time that the parade is back on after a couple of years of not happening due to the pandemic, and the community's excited. The South Modesto Businesses United thanks the city for their sponsorship. Full disclosure, I serve as a volunteer board member on the South Modesto Businesses United, and it's going to be a ton of fun. And it's going to be the first parade that is held in South Modesto on Crow's Landing's new repaved, widened, improved Crow's Landing Road corridor. So it's a free community event. Everybody please come out. If anybody wants more information, they can call 209-579-4776. No, that's my cell. You can call me too if you want, but I immediately defaulted to my cell. It's 209-883-8760. But no, for real, if you want to call me, you can call me too. Again, 209-883-8760 for more information, or visit the South Modesto Businesses United on the social media platforms such as Instagram, Facebook. You'll see the flyer and other information. That's I think that's all I have.
Thank you. All right. Next, does the city manager have any comments and reports? All right, thank you very much. Next on the agenda is new business. Item 22, consider approving the rehire of Michael Boomenlog on a part-time basis for a limited duration of up to 3 months for the purposes of providing critical software support to ensure the public can be provided service without interruption, and overseeing the training and transfer of knowledge to his replacement for a cost not to exceed $25,000. And we will have the staff report by Christina Alger, our Director of Human Resources. Welcome, Christina.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Good evening. Christina Alger, Director of Human Resources. So this item is a request to consider bringing back a recently retired employee in the Finance Department. As a general rule, CalPERS requires that newly retired employees must take a break of 180 days before resuming work as a retired annuitant. Any retiree can come back in a part-time capacity while continuing to receive their pension as long as this 180 days has passed since they retired. There are a few exceptions to this rule. And so one such exception is when there's a detrimental impact to the services by the retirement and a lack of replacement. So when this occurs, CalPERS requires a resolution to be adopted by the governing body to allow the appointment. So the senior software analyst, Michael Boomenlag, recently retired from the city. He worked for the City of Modesto for over 14 years and possesses experience and skills necessary to alleviate any disruption to operations in the Finance Department's Revenue and Collections Division. So Mr. Boomenlag has an in-depth working knowledge of the systems software utilized for operations within Finance Department and Water Department. And so he really, takes care of those systems and makes sure they stay up and running. And that's a really critical component for that division. So his replacement was hired, but there was not sufficient time for training. And so the request is to bring Mr. Boomenlag back for a limited duration of 3 months to allow the transfer of knowledge. So the funding to rehire Mr. Boomenlag is not to exceed $25,000 for fiscal years 21 and 22 and 22-23, and will be available through the Information Technology Department. These costs will be absorbed within the department due to several vacancies in the current year budget. So the request is a resolution authorizing the City of Modesto to utilize the services of Michael Boomenlag on a part-time basis for a limited duration of up to 3 months for the purposes of providing critical software support to create a transfer of knowledge and to alleviate any kind of interruptions in service. So I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you very much for your presentation. Any questions from council members? Seeing none in person or online, any public comment? I cannot see that screen.
I'm sorry.
Okay. All right, Emerson Drake.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm glad to see the timers all set and ready to go. I have to, first a comment, this just seems like mismanagement on the city's part. I'm sure there'll be excuses or, oh, no, we couldn't do it. We couldn't get somebody hired in time, this and that. We're going to spend $25,000 that we shouldn't have had to spend. We should have had somebody brought in ahead of time. But that doesn't matter because, we've got extra money to spend, right? Secondly, I would like, since we have the Human Resources Department available there, I'd like to know how many times in the last year that we've done this, where we've had to bring somebody back to that's recently retired, come back underneath. Now, maybe none at all. But for it to happen, we see these contracts get extended over and over and over again. But yet you tell us we're running out of money. We see people being brought back, $25,000 for 3 months. That means apparently he was making $100,000 a year when he retired. At least that's what the math tells me. It seems to me that the man you just gave $20,000 raise who's falling down on the job. We can't get the timer for the council to work properly, and we can't get people trained to be replaced. But I would like a response on how many times we've done this in the last 12 months. Thank you very much for your time.
All right, thank you for your questions. Any comments from the council?
So I can go ahead and answer his question, and the answer is none.
Thank you very much, Christina.
Motion to approve.
All right, we have a motion to approve the resolution approving the rehire of Michael Boomenlag on a part-time basis for a limited duration of up to 3 months for the purposes of providing critical software support to ensure the public can be provided service without interruption and overseeing the training and transfer of knowledge to his replacement for a cost not to exceed $25,000. And I have that motion from Vice Mayor Wright. Do I have a second?
A second?
All right, second from Councilmember Canoyer. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Madrigal,
Aye.
Councilmember Ricky,
Aye.
Councilmember Canoyer,
Aye.
Councilmember Wright,
Aye.
and Mayor Zwellen.
Aye, and it carries 5-0. Thank you very
you.
much. All right, next is item 23, consider an ordinance approving the Modesto Police Department Military Equipment Use Policy 710 in accordance with Assembly Bill AB 481. And we will have a report from our Police Chief, Brandon Gillespie. Welcome.
Thank you, Mayor, and good evening, Mayor and Council. Brandon Gillespie, Police Chief. And this item before you is to consider an ordinance approving the Modesto Police Department military equipment use policy that is a result of Assembly Bill 481 that went into effect on January 1st. And so the last several months, we've had a team of people going through that law. There's been, most agencies have had to interpret what that law means and then put it into policy. But what we do know is that we had to create a policy that was approved by our governing body, you, the City Council, on the adoption of the use, funding, and acquiring of military equipment. And so before I begin, I want to give a shout out and a big kudos to the team of people that have worked to put this policy together and bring it to fruition. But Captain Jason Grogan, Lieutenant Joseph Bottoms, and City Attorney from the City Attorney's Office, John Fukasawa, have been instrumental in getting this done. And I forgot to recognize somebody at the Safety and Committees meeting, so I'm going to recognize him tonight and apologize for the past non-recognition. But as anything happens, the higher you go, the work really gets done by the frontline people. But Sergeant Robert Gum has been instrumental in really doing the legwork of all this. So I know Sergeant Gum is on tonight, and I want to really thank him for really the effort that he put into this tonight to bring it to where we are. So Assembly Bill 481 is codified in government sections 770 through 775 and requires the law enforcement agency to obtain approval, the adoption of a military equipment use policy by ordinance prior to funding, acquiring, or using military equipment. So the Modesto Police Department has created that policy. We've posted it on our website. We also have a military equipment inventory list that I'll be sharing here in a little bit. But I think a few of the things to recognize is that the term military equipment as used in AB 41 does not, in fact, indicate that it comes from the military. As I'll go over in the military equipment inventory, there are some items that we have obtained from the military through what is commonly referred to as the 1033 program. But as the legislators decide what was military equipment, that includes things like UAVs, or commonly known as drones. And we've had some of those which we've gone to Best Buy and purchased. So just because there's a misnomer a little bit of being military equipment does not necessarily mean that it was acquired from the military, and I can answer any questions to that as we go on. But it was decided under this legislation that certain things would be qualified as military equipment. So there's 15 different categories, and we'll go over those here in a few minutes, that relate to military equipment, and so they've categorized those in those 15 categories. Also, I've mentioned a lot of this, but it requires the policy to address all of the following: a description of each type of military equipment, which is in our inventory list that I'll share, and has already been posted online as well. The purposes and authorized uses for each type of military equipment, the fiscal impact of each type of military equipment, the legal and procedural rules, the training that must be completed before an agency is allowed to use it, mechanisms to ensure compliance, and then the public complaint procedures. And those are all covered in our policy or our inventory list that has been attached to this item. There are specific categories, those 15 categories I was talking about. So category 1 is unmanned, remotely piloted, powered aerial or ground vehicles. And so those are robots and UAVs or drones. Mine-resistant, ambush-protected vehicles commonly known as MRAPs. However, police versions of standard consumer vehicles are specifically included. So you can see how our city's attorney's office was very important in this to differentiate between some of these definitions. High mobility purpose wheeled vehicles, commonly referred to as Humvees, and then other vehicles, 1.5-ton trucks, 5-ton trucks, or wheeled vehicles. Category 4 was tracked armored vehicles that provide ballistic protection to their occupants. 5, command and control vehicles that are either built or modified to facilitate the operational control and direction of public safety units. weaponized aircraft, vessels, or vehicles of any kind. 7 is battering rams, slugs, or breaching apparatuses that are explosive in nature. 8 is firearms of 50 caliber or greater. However, standard issue shotguns are specifically excluded. 9, ammunition of 50 caliber or greater. However, standard issue shotguns again are specifically excluded. 10, specialized firearms and ammunition of less than 50 caliber, with the exception of standard issue service weapons and ammunition of less than 50 caliber that are issued to officers, agents, or employees of the law enforcement agency. Any firearm or firearm accessories designed to launch explosive projectiles. 12 is flashbangs, devices, explosive breaching tools, or tear gas or pepper balls. 13 is taser, shockwave, microwave weapons, water cannons, and long-range acoustic devices, commonly known as LRAD. And projectile platforms and their associated munitions, which are typically 40 millimeter projectile launchers, beanbags, rubber bullets, and the sort. And then any other equipment determined by a governing body or state agency to require oversight. Those are the 15 categories, and in a few minutes I'll go over what we currently have as the Modesto Police Department. And then I just wanted to dive into the policy a little bit. So the policy, again, has been posted on our website. It's part of this package. But the policy, as we go through that, covers the guidelines of AB 481, has some definitions in there. And we go through, we have an military equipment coordinator, which is our Lieutenant Bottoms. And obviously, as I mentioned before, Sergeant Gunn is also involved in that as far as making sure that somebody is designated to act as that military equipment coordinator, acting as the liaison, making sure the equipment department that qualifies for military equipment is on our inventory list and such. Following list, so we talk about the approval. So as part of AB 481, and it's in our policy, is that I, the Chief of Police, needs to obtain approval from the City Council as a way of adopting this ordinance. So we go through, this is just the policy, and again, was attached to this as well, so I'm happy to answer any questions at the end of this. Specifically, one thing to point out is there has to be an annual report. So upon approval, if that's what the council decides to do tonight of the military equipment policy, within 1 year of that, the approval, and annually thereafter, we provide a annual report on what inventory equipment that we have. And so it's also made publicly available on our website as long as that military equipment is available for use, and it includes all information pertaining to Government Code 7072 about the preceding calendar year. Community engagement, and then also within 30 days of submitting that annual report, the department shall hold at least one well-publicized and conveniently located community engagement meeting. And that was talked about in depth at the Safety and Communities meeting, and that's what we plan to do. And have the public come out, and as was suggested, I like the suggestion of actually bringing some of that equipment out to show the public and get rid of the mysteriousness that often goes around the equipment that law enforcement uses. And so we would make sure we do community engagement. And then there is compliance pieces of this policy that has our internal affairs unit would create an annual report and notify me of any violations that are uncovered. And also, internal affairs would also be responsible for registering any questions or concerns with the public that the public may have regarding the equipment designated as military equipment. And then if by any chance stocks of the military equipment have reached significantly lower levels or have been exhausted, the department may order up to 10% of stock in calendar years without council approval and maintain essential availability for department needs. So the recommendation tonight is to have a motion introducing and waiving the first reading of an ordinance approving the Modesto Police Department military use policy 710 in accordance with Assembly Bill AB 481. But before I open it up to questions, I did want to review our inventory, military equipment inventory, so that the council and anybody listening can be aware of what we do have. So category 1, which is unmanned aerial vehicles, UAVs, we do have of those a total of approximately 11. So DJI is a common manufacturer that we have, and we have 11 of those UAVs. and those are outlined in the inventory policy. We also have robots. Those are remotely controlled unmanned ground vehicles. And so we do have a Robotex A00476 robot that was acquired in 2013. And we also have a iRobot BB2590, and that was acquired approximately a year ago, and that was free of charge from the military, from the 1033 program. And those robots are used specifically by our SWAT team most often. When there is some type of danger, they can send a robot in to protect the safety of our officers in our community and have the robot go in with a camera, take a look at what's going on, and rather than sending personnel inside, or even to look at a suspicious device or something to that nature. So Category 2, armored vehicles. We do have a Lenco Bear, and that's a armored vehicle. We use it as a SWAT vehicle, a rescue vehicle, and that was obtained in 2004. We also have a Peacekeeper protected response vehicle, is what it's called, PRV, but it's commonly referred to as a Peacekeeper. We have 2 of those that we did receive from the 1033 program, so that did come through the military. And what we've outfitted both of those to be able to do is we have a program called Armadillos, where we actually outfit those with cameras. It says smile, you're on camera. And then we actually park those in neighborhoods where there's been complaints, typically of some type of drug activity or some type of criminal activity, and that we found that those have helped lower issues in some of our higher crime areas, and has actually been very popular with the public, to where we don't have enough of the vehicles, and there's sometimes lists for people for those to go be parked. Category 4, we don't have anything in Category 4. Category 5 is a mobile incident command post vehicle. We do have a command post that's used by both the fire department and the police department. It's a 2000 Eagle 5 a fifth wheel trailer, and that is what we use on any of our big incidents where we need a command post trailer. So we do have that, along with a Ford F-50 truck to pull it. Categories 6, 7, and 8, we do not have anything that qualifies in those categories. Category 9, we do have M16A1 rifles that were obtained about 20 years ago from the military as we started an urban rifle program. We have not used those rifles in a very long time. They've been used for training, and we're actually currently looking to surplus those back to the military and get rid of those. So we have 52 of those, and so they, for a long time, have only been used for training. We haven't had those in service for quite some time. Categories 10 and 11, we don't have anything in those. Category 12, flashbangs, tear gas, pepper balls. We do have those, and there's a list of about 9 different types. Pepper balls, mini flashbangs, gas canisters, ferret rounds, which are liquid CS rounds. These are all used for mobile field force operations or SWAT operations, where, again, dangerous to go into a house, and they will use gas sometimes to elicit somebody to come out of the house rather than the danger of having people go inside. So and that is all listed in the inventory list. Category 13, there's nothing that qualifies in our inventory for Category 13. Category 14, we do have 40 millimeter launchers, and also 870 less lethal shotguns. We do have 37 of those that are outfitted in our patrol cars, again, used as a less lethal round, so that officers, when appropriate, don't have to use any type of lethal force, and they can use a less lethal option. So we do have those, and those both are the shotguns and the 40 millimeter launchers. And Category 15, we don't have anything that qualifies as under that category. So I know that was long, but I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
All right, thank you for that report. Questions from council members? Seeing none, comments from the public? I do not see anyone in person. I do online. Emerson Drake.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. It's nice to see that we didn't buy the 3,000 rounds of pepper balls at Best Buy. I'll say that for us. One thing I wanted to point out, and I wouldn't have, but I didn't receive a response in the last couple days. Unfortunately, I believe we had one of our explorers being utilized for electioneering with his uniform on. Obviously, that's against the rules, so to speak. I was hoping he'd be warned. I just wanted it to be a non-entity and to go away, but when you don't hear anything, you never know. The rest of these, you know, it's interesting that we don't like to refer to it as, you know, militaristic, but when they put the picture on Facebook today of the men inside I'm not sure what kind of a truck it was, so to speak. One of the first comments, somebody says it looked like they were being deployed in pollution. That wasn't the case, obviously, whatsoever. I think it was, we were out playing revenue. But in any case, I would hope that we won't see any more police uniforms being used for electioneering. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Any other comments from the public? Seeing none in person or online at this time, comments from council members?
Motion to approve.
I'll make one comment. Thank you very much for your report, for your transparency, and for doing all that you can to keep our officers safe. We have a motion from Vice Mayor Wright. Do we have a second? I'll make the second. Will the clerk please? Oh, sorry, excuse me. I need to reread it. A motion introducing and waiving the first reading of an ordinance approving the Modesto Police Department Military Equipment Use Policy 710 in accordance with Assembly Bill AB 481. And we have a motion from Vice Mayor Wright, and I made the second. Mayor Suswalla, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Madrigal.
Aye.
Councilmember Ricky.
Aye.
Councilmember Canoyer.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Wright.
Aye.
And Mayor Zwallen.
Aye. Carries unanimously, 5-0. Thank you very much, everyone. Are there any matters too late for the agenda? Seeing none, I call this meeting of the City Council to be adjourned.